Welcome. I'm here with the brand new Inovelli Blue Series switch. I'm really excited about this switch. It's a Zigbee switch instead of Z-Wave, which is what all of the previous Inovelli switches use. I have been a big proponent of Z-Wave, but it seems like similar to Betamax and HD DVD, it looks like Zigbee is going to win. So, most of the manufacturers have been getting behind the Zigbee protocol, so I'm really happy to see that Inovelli has released a Zigbee switch. This thing has every feature you could think of. You can run LED, you can run incandescent, you can run CFL. It has multiple paddle colors. You can use it without a neutral wire. You can use it in an on-off or a dimmer setting. There you can program scenes. There's a LED bar on the side which is programmable. You can do animations with it. You can change the color. You can directly link this with a Zigbee bulb, which is really cool, and it has energy monitoring, so you can see how much power the circuit that you have it connected to is using. Compatible with many common hub devices, Home Assistant, SmartThings, Alexa, Hubitat. So I want to go ahead and unbox it for you. Just got this in the mail. Very excited to see how it looks. So there it is. Now, if we look at the terminals, we've got our ground at the top. We've got the line and the load on the side here. And we have to peel this off to use in more advanced 3-ways and 4-ways, I believe. You've got your programming button on the bottom here, or I think that's a reset button on the bottom there. You've got your programming button up here, and your LED light bar on the side. It comes with a neutral wire extension if you need it, in case you're replacing a switch that didn't have a neutral on it, and comes with a little instruction manual. I'm just going to flip through that real quick. Looks like it's got lots of instructions in it. I'll have to take a look at that later. Little switch pre-setup guide. And a statement. I just wanted to show you here a comparison between the Blue Series and the Red Series switches. So on the left here we have the older Red Series Z-Wave switch, and on the right we have the newest Blue Series Zigbee switch. As you can see on the front, they're almost identical looking. I probably couldn't tell these apart looking at them once they have a cover on them. So it looks like they reused a lot of the components. The housing looks very similar, and really, the screws look the same. Much of it looks identical. One thing I did notice is the newer Blue Series is slightly less deep, so it does have a slightly lower profile, which is nice if you've ever wired up a box that had a lot of wires in it. Sometimes it can be difficult to fit these larger switches in. But the width and length look to be identical. And it is, the Zigbee switch is a good bit lighter. I can definitely tell the difference. The Z-Wave switch is heavier. Here it is wired up. Power's still off, so it's a little bit dark. Apologies for that. But I've got the line and the load on the right side here. The neutral on the left side, which I did use the little dovetail wire that they gave us because this was a dumb switch before, so the neutrals were way in the back of the switch. And then the ground on the top. So it's all wired up, and I'm going to go turn the power back on. So as soon as I turned the power on, the switch entered its pairing mode, and I went into Home Assistant, and it found the device right away. Doesn't look like it's focusing there. Yeah, found it right away with Home Assistant, no problem. I'm going to go ahead and pair this up, and then I'll demo the controlling the switch through Home Assistant. I'm going to show you the some of the operations of the switch. You can use manual. There is a click there, although I've heard that there's some way to turn that off, so I'm going to have to look into that because the click is kind of annoying. And there is a little bit of a delay. That could also just be the bulbs, because those bulbs have always had a little bit of a delay. I'll show you with connected to Home Assistant some of the settings here. So you can control the light. Move it this way. You can control the light, obviously. Off, on. And there's a bunch of parameters. The electrical current measurement does not seem to work. It's supposed to tell you how many wattage, what the wattage is of the current load on the switch. Doesn't seem to work. I'll have to look into that. For the configuration, there's an auto shutoff timer. There's a way to invert the switch. There's dimming up and down, max dim level, some more timers, remote ramp rate, all kinds of stuff. And then other sections, diagnostics. It does seem to be missing some settings. I don't see a way to change the color of the dimmer, and then the power management doesn't seem to be working. So I'm going to have to look into whether there's a firmware update or an update to the Home Assistant integration. Here's an update. I was able to fix all 4 things that I was having trouble with. To start with, you can change the delay. By default, there's a 700 millisecond delay when you press the button to turn it on. And I really prefer the instant on. When you use instant on, it disables the double tap gesture, which I don't use. So I'm much prefer having the instant on. The next thing was I was able to disable the clicking sound. By default, there's a clicking sound when the relay turns on or off in the switch, which I really don't like that sound. So I was able to turn that off. The next thing was the LED color bar. Not a big fan of the default cyan color. So I changed the color there. It's not great in the UI. You have to go into a kind of complicated menu to change it, but I was able to change it. And lastly, the power monitoring does seem to work. I'm not sure why it wasn't working when I first hooked it up, but I can see the power values changing when I turn the switch on and off, and it has history. So overall, pretty happy with this switch. Was able to configure it the way I wanted it, and I'll probably start ordering more of these to build out my Zigbee network.